as records began in 1659, that's an awful lot of summers. Longer and hotter even than 1976 in Poised, on Friday, to beat the hottest day to date, a 38. 5C peak at Faversham, Kent, in August 2003. Today those records are kept by the Met Office, based in a secure mini-city with a lavish water feature in the atrium, a gym, cafe, restaurant and a creche next door. This three-story box of glass on the outskirts of Exeter is filled with 1,600 very serious people who work to deliver, these days, reliable 5-day forecasts. Britain's high-tech weather world grew out of an experimental government department set up in 1854 to research the possibilities of forecasting the weather, mainly to protect the safety of ships. Michael Fish and his famously duff forecast in October 1987 are never mentioned here. Just as superstitious actors refer to Macbeth as the Scottish play, weathermen call him that man. Fish told BBC viewers, "Hurricane? What hurricane?" or words to that effect, just hours before the country was ravaged. There are now 8 chief forecasters, working 12-hour shifts that start at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Under their command are 20 junior forecasters. Huge moving screens showing vast weather maps of the UK dominate the ops room. You'd think, bearing in mind their expertise, they would have installed some aircon, or at least fans. But iced coffees in short sleeves are seemingly their only defense against beaded foreheads and the occasional wet patch. And it's only going to get worse, apparently. These experts insist ice caps are melting and sea levels rising by up to a metre in the next 100 years. If we don't dramatically cut greenhouse gas emissions, they say, temperatures will go up another 8°C in the UK, bringing drought, the death of agriculture, skin cancer and malaria, and, possibly, the end of us humans. To put this in perspective, average global temperatures are up 1°C in the past 100 years. Another 8°C within the next century could prove fatal. As forecaster Paul Gunderson says, cold killed the dinosaurs. Heat could kill us. Paul explains that as the weather heats up, the oceans warm, and that heat reflects back into the atmosphere. Still, at least these days we'll see it all happen in great detail. One of the reasons, he says, that Fish-gate will not happen again is technology. The Met Office now has £3.97 million computers kept under lock and key in icy conditions. Typically of the Met Office, however, they look a tad boring, dark grey boxes. Even the flashing red and green lights are muted. And their names are even duller, Supercomputer 1, 2, and 3. It's enough to make me pine for Boaty McBoatface. For 24 hours a day, these machines run weather simulations based on real-time information from 50 satellites. And, essentially, unless we sort out carbon emissions globally, all of us are doomed. Greenhouse gases are, apparently, weakening the jet stream's strong winds 5 to 7 miles up which blow west to east. This causes blocking patterns, weather that sticks, like the current heat wave or February's beast from the east. They are not infallible, however. After a 2013 summit, it was widely reported we could be locked in a decade of soaking wet summers. Predictions were for a colder than average July. There is something almost Masonic about these prophets of global doom. Paul, 38, says, "We are a very tight community. Even during the Gulf War, we were sharing weather information with Iraq. We don't exactly have a secret handshake, but you can always spot another weatherman." 50. One of the Met Office's most senior scientists, who foresaw the beast from the east, does have some good news. Our climate is becoming more and more South Mediterranean. So, though we face drought, starvation, flash fires and possible extinction, we'll soon be able to make very decent champagne. Basically, we face hotter summers, wetter springs, stormier autumns and grimmer winters. Brits talk about the weather every 6 hours, according to research. A survey by OnePoll. Confounded is our most identifiable national trait, just ahead of being great at queuing. So, feeding our obsession. After tomorrow's potentially record roaster, we have a slightly cooler few days, still 20°C plus, in prospect before August heats up again. Dr. Stott's arresting Tang neatly makes the point. Europe? I ask him. No, he says, Exeter.